Hello?
Yeah, hello, this is Julius.
Yeah.
Hey, Julius, this is Tommy Bryson. Just want to let you know this call is going to be recorded and potentially uploaded to YouTube. How can I help you?
Oh. Um. Okay. Where to start? Let me think.
So,
So pretty much just scheduled an appointment to go over like my five-year plan, I think.
okay, I mean, if that's what you want to talk about, I mean, it sounded like you have like an idea and you want to talk about it, see if it's a good idea or not.
Yeah.
Okay, what's up?
So pretty much where I'm at right now is I got something saved up, and I'm looking to buy a house maybe like next year.
Okay,
I'm
how old are
not
you?
sure if it's gonna 26.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm looking to buy a house like next year, like a fixer upper to possibly rent
Mm-hmm.
and or sell, depending on what the market looks like, I guess. But yeah, and to repeat that for 5 years until I have a good bit of money to buy a multifamily property, or keep keep them and have multiple streams of income, hopefully.
Where are you located?
Richmond, Virginia.
Richmond, Virginia. What's the average property value over there?
In the city, a lot, like $1 million on average, or a little bit lower, but
Well,
like out
I'm
on the
talking about your
outskirts,
area,
um,
the market you're looking at.
for a renovated house, maybe like 250 for a fixer upper, maybe you get it for 150.
Okay. Now, it sounds like, what do you do, by the way? What's your income right now?
About 45,000 a year.
Okay. And what are your expenses?
Like nothing. I just my mom help her pay some bills, so like maybe 600 a month.
Okay. Let's say 800, just
Yeah.
to have it a little higher. And how much money did you save up?
Um, Pretty much everything I invest. What I don't save, I have like a few thousand saved up for
Uh,
like emergency, but I live at home, so it's not like I need it per se. So I
is
usually just invest it.
you live with your mom and dad or just your mom?
Just my mom.
Okay. If your mom dies tomorrow, that's why you want an emergency. Okay. So per se, you do need it just in case the worst does happen. Now, as far as, for example, you said you have money for a house for next year. Like, how much money do you have for that?
For a house?
Yeah, you say you want to buy a home, a house.
Yeah. So with FHA, probably like only need like 6 to 10,000, 10,000 on the high end.
Mm-hmm. Now, why do you want to get an FHA loan?
Uh, Easier to buy. I don't have to worry about the 20%. And then if I decide to sell it after a year after doing like some renovations, I can. When or refinance it too.
So you're planning on basically moving out of your mom's house, right? By
Yeah.
next year. Okay.
Yeah.
And you plan on buying fixer upper, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever done that before?
What, like housework?
Yeah.
I mean, I work at Lowe's, so I'm pretty knowledgeable for the most part.
Okay. There's a
Well, what I
difference
can and
between
can't do at least.
yeah, yeah. It's a difference between equipment and stuff like that, and actually Now I say this right because I have a friend. He did kind of like the same thing that you're wanting to do, right? He
Hmm.
he bought this house in this area, a nice area. He bought this house for I think it was like around like $500,000, right?
Hmm.
And he had to put in around like 150,000, right? And he went
Hmm.
overboard because basically he just didn't know what he was doing, and now he's stuck with this massive mortgage. He also did, for example, the FHA loan. He pays around $4,000 a month, for like $4,300 a month for this mortgage, and he's always worried about vacancies and so on. Now, the idea is that what I follow is more different, right? The goal
Hmm.
is I would put down between 10 to 20%. The goal is initially I wouldn't try to, for example, do rental properties. My first initial idea would be like, hey, let me build my own foundation. That way I have security. That way, if things go wrong, I know for a fact, hey, the shelter part of my budget is taken care of because basically I own the house I'm about to buy, right? That's the idea. You have to have a plan for that. Now, for me, if I were you and I made $45,000 And how much money did you save so far?
Like 15,000.
Okay, let's say $15,000, which is, by the way, $15,000. Yeah, that's not be enough. Which, yeah, yeah. So if you wanted to buy, for example, a 200K property, right, and you want to do
Mm-hmm.
like 10%, which is basically the minimum here, that'd be somewhere around like $20,000. But then you have, for example, closing costs and all that stuff. My initial idea would be, hey, I want to buy this home first of all, right, to make
Mm-hmm.
sure I'm done paying it off, and once it's taken care of, well, now I have a bunch of free cash flow coming in, like basically like for my job, right? Because I don't have to worry about the shelter anymore because that's taken care of, just tax and insurance. And then if I want to do, for example, rental properties, I wouldn't do the whole FHA loan thing where you basically go from one property, stay there for a year, you rent it out, go to the next one, the next one, the next one. Because basically, when you do have vacancies, and at one point you will, or you have a problem, you lost your job, because you never know what's gonna happen, then you have a
Right.
problem. Because if things go wrong, then you're gonna dig yourself in a hole. Now, my plan would be a little different than yours, right? My plan would be, hey, I have this much money coming in, 45K a year. Maybe I'll wait a little longer, save up a little bit of money for like this house that I want to buy. I want to buy a house to follow, for example, the 33% rule, which basically means whatever house I buy cannot exceed 33% of my monthly income on a 15-year mortgage. Now, additional, I would put down, for example, 15% extra towards this mortgage. It means basically I'll be done with this house in around 7 to 10 years, while I'm also investing money into my retirement between 10 to 20%. That way, I also get that compound interest. But the idea is that in
Mm-hmm.
7 to 10 years, I own this property. It's mine, right? I also have
Right.
a lot of money in investments. I also have a good amount of money coming in income. So when I want to go ahead and buy, for example, rent a property, I can if I want to without the risk of my personal mortgage. Because now I know I'm safe. It's kind of, when you ever been on a plane?
No, I
Uh,
haven't been on a plane.
okay, so when you're on a plane, they tell you, like, they give you like this whole thing. They tell you like, oh, make sure you put on your mask first before you put the mask on the baby, right? Because if you
Right.
get knocked out, the idea is you can't help anyone. So if you
Mm-hmm.
get knocked out the game, but you don't have anywhere to stay, you're back to living with your mom, right? And that's not what I want. So once I buy, for example, my own property, but this is my plan, by the way, also my own property, and I actually own it. Then I move on, for example, to rental property. I put down 20%. With the rental income I get from that property plus my income, I slowly pay it off. Once that's paid off, all that cash flow I get from that property is 100% mine. On top of that, I don't have that much risk because basically I don't have a massive mortgage on me. Now I buy the second property, then the third property, then the fourth property, then the fifth property. Now, this method obviously is a lot slower, right? Because you're basically
Mm-hmm.
having to pay off a property step by step, but it also takes a lot less risk. Now, if you say you're 26, right?
Yeah.
So let's say by 32, 35, you're debt free, have an emergency account fully funded, have a lot of money in your investment account, and also own a house. And then, for example, by age 40 or 42, you have, for example, 2, 3 rental properties, right?
Uh-huh.
But it takes a lot longer. Well, if I can tell you about, if you're 26 now, you make a decent amount of money, you save up that 3.5%. By the time you turn 35, you can have, for example, like 6 to 10 properties, right? But you have, for example, a small amount of equity and a large amount of debt, and also a large amount of risk. And that's not
And
what
if
I
something
want.
happens, I'm gonna be sunk.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, by the way, it's just the way I work, right? And the way I'd rather do it. So, and you told me you also do investments. What are you currently investing into in the market?
In what category? Like long term or?
Oh, so you have different types of categories.
Yeah. So I have a long term portfolio. Also mess around with options a little bit. So.
Okay. How are you doing so far in options?
Pretty good. I'm positive. So yeah. I
Yeah.
have very few. Well, to be fair, like what is like probably like an 80% success or positive
Now, let
when
me ask
the
you,
play works
what
up.
what's your goal for investing? Like, what do you want? Just passive income?
I use options mostly to like just. Well, it's not really passive, but like
No. Yeah.
to like supplement, like have the money work a little faster, and then I just
Okay.
have a long-term portfolio to split it for whenever.
What would you say your split is? Like, what percentage do you do in long term, and then what percentage do you do in short term?
Let me think. 80% long term, then like 20% in a short term.
Okay. The rule I follow as far as investing is this, right?
Mm-hmm.
My goal is that Warren Buffett is a great mentor to me, but I'm not trying to read statements for 5 to 8 hours a day, right? Because that's how value investing
It's a lot
works.
of work.
Yeah. Now, I'm not a fool, so I'm not gonna fool myself and say like, hey, you know what? It's fine. I can do that on the side, no matter what. No, you can't do investing on the side, right? It's like a full-time job. So
Yeah.
I decided, hey, if I'm not gonna do that, I'm gonna be honest with myself. Is hey, I'm gonna go ahead and invest, for example, in ETFs and also index funds. So 90% of all of my money, well, actually a lot more than that. Basically, all of my money goes, for example, into just index funds and ETFs. That's the way I invest. I'm talking about my investing money. As far as,
Mm-hmm.
for example, if I were like you, because everyone has a taste for speculation, right? I
Yeah.
would say, hey, you know what? I'm going to take 10% of my money and put it into the speculation game right here. And I'm not going to add any more money ever again. Or, for example, take money out. I'm just going to leave it there. Let that money, like, just have fun with that money, right? But your priority should be, well, in my case, is to be, hey, I want to have passive income and money for when I retire. That's the idea. You know, and
I do have a
when
401k also, so I mean that's that.
how much do you have in the 401k?
I mean I just started last year, roughly. I think 5,000, and then my business, the company I work for, matches it, so like 10.
10,000. Yo, 10. Okay, you have to give me. You don't have the exact amount, but do you have a Roth
Well, whatever.
401k also?
No, I don't.
Okay, okay. You can ask, for example, if your employer offers you a Roth 401k and the match money, they can put it, for example, in your normal 401k. Now, the Roth would mean basically that it will be post-tax money, which means also that when it's time for you to retire, all that money is going to be yours. You already paid the tax today. And although you get, for example, the tax deduction today with the whole like normal 401k, the idea would be, imagine a question, right? You're 50, 60 years old. Do you want to get taxed or do you want to have all your money then? What do you think your decision is going to be back then? Like then in the future?
I prefer all of it.
Yeah. So you right now being younger, right? You can afford to just pay the tax because you don't really need the tax credit today. And it's basically in the future, you can have all that money for 50-year-old or 60-year-old yourself. You know what I mean? For
Yeah.
50-year-old Julius, right? That's the idea. So if they offer, for example, a Roth 401k, I would do that. I would invest as much money as needed to get the full match, right? And then I would put the
Uh,
rest of the money, for example, into my Roth, try to max it out. But again, I would only be investing between 10 to 20% of my money. That's about it. Because I have a priority, which is basically saving up for a house. And then basically, once I buy a house, following the rules, trying to pay it off fast, paying, for example, that 15% like 15% extra towards it. Once that's paid
mm,
off, now I have, hey, shelter, which is, by the way, the biggest thing ever in everyone's budget, right? But instead of taking 15 years, you took 7. Or no, actually, instead of taking 30 years like the average person, you took 7, right? So a lot faster than the average person. By the way, the goal is you're 26 years old, bro. You're like 2 years older than me, right? But you have to be patient, right? That's something that I try to master, something I battle every single day. It's just patience. Just take your time with it, right? You're doing everything correctly, except, for example, like the whole gambling with the options and so on. But the whole goal is just take it step by step. You know, you could build a massive fortune overnight with the whole like FHA loan here and there, blah 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 blah. And before you know, you have like 10 properties and so on and so on and so on. But when things go wrong, you have to go back to go. You know, like go in Monopoly, like when you have to start all over again.
yeah,
That's not
yeah.
what you want. Yeah. So my advice would be like, hey, take it step by step. All right. If you have any debt, eliminate the debt first. Once you're done with that, you build up, for example, your emergency account. You start investing 10 to 20%. And then, for example, you start saving up for that down payment, 10, 20%. Once you buy that home, again, follow the 33% rule. That way, the home you buy is a home you can actually afford. Once you buy the home, try to pay it off fast. Once you're done with that, you have, for example, all this free money, right? And you have also no risk of mortgage. If you want to buy a rental, you buy it. Once you buy that one, you pay it off. You buy the next one, you pay it off. Buy the next one, you pay it off. And you know, once you have, for example, let's say, for example, you have 3 properties, right? And they're all
All
paid
right.
off. Julius, picture this, right? You have 3 properties all paid off, and they all pay you $1,000 net. So that's 3K net plus your job. How much money do you really need? Do you really think you need to be like retired happily? Think about it.
Really not much, to be honest.
Yeah. So imagine having like two properties, $2,000, like 3, that's 3K, and you also have your job. If you want to quit, you can, but you also have 3K coming in passive income. That's solid. And you don't have any crazy risk going on. Oh my gosh, I have a vacancy. What am I going to do? I have to pay this mortgage, but my boss doesn't like me anymore. Do I stay at the job? Do I not stay at the job? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's panicky. You know what I mean? I don't like panic. I rather just take it patient, step by step. And that's the whole idea as far as my plan.
Okay. Well, that is something to consider, a more passive approach.
Yeah, I mean, it's a choice you can make, but it all depends how you want to do it, you know?
Oh, and to be fair, the options plays is not gambling. Calculated risk.
Calculated risk, guys.
I pretty much just sell covered calls. So
Tell me about that.
covered calls.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, you pretty much just, when you own at least 100 shares of a company, you can sell calls. So if I bought recently, let's say I bought American Airlines at $27, and if I sell a covered call for April, let's make up a day, April 5th. If I sell the premium for $130, and if it hits 130, then
So how do you know?
Then
How do you know if it's gonna hit that?
I don't want it to hit that.
You don't want it to hit that.
No, I just want to make the premium, the extra $100 for pretty much just offering a contract out to somebody, so I can repeat it the next time I feel like selling a covered call.
If it does hit that, what happens?
Then the contract will most likely be exercised, and then I make the difference between what I bought it for and what it is selling for.
So you're telling me you always make money?
I haven't lost money.
When you say you haven't lost, like comparatively, or you never done one where you lost money?
I've never done a covered call where I've lost any money.
So you're saying you can never lose money with this?
No, you can.
How can you lose money?
How can you lose money? Oh, yeah. I guess if the particular stock you're looking at falls a ridiculous amount.
Where what?
But then you can, if the stock you're holding, if it falls a ridiculous amount. No.
So let's say I did the whole thing with GameStop, right? And it was like at the peak, and then boom, it went down like crazy. What happens?
I gotta think. What happens with your contract? I mean, it expires worthless, but you're also stuck into the contract as long as you're holding this contract. So if it like goes really bad, you're holding on to something you can't get rid of, essentially.
So would you say there's some form of speculation with this?
Yeah, there is, but I mean, yeah, it's speculation, but as long as it doesn't drop ridiculously, you're pretty much good.
But you can't predict that, right? I mean, the whole game I try to play is a game where the odds are in my favor, right? Index fund investing, that's in my favor, right? And by the way, the thing is that it's boring, right? When you're doing index fund, it's just boring. Like you're just like waiting. You're just making money without really doing anything. That's all it is. You're just waiting, right? But the whole thing is that if you want to do the whole cover calls again and you want to do this whole thing, hopefully it works out for you. But just like do 10%, right? And just like if it really just makes you money, and think about it, right? If you put in $1,000 and you make, let's say 10%, 20% a year, overall, if you keep compounding that over the next 20, 30 years, you'll be like a millionaire, like by far, right? But just don't put any more money into it. Just focus on.
That's essentially the plan for that one, anyway. So.
Yeah, and just like, are you when you said also you're also doing long-term investing, right? Are you picking stocks, or are you, for example, doing ETFs and index fund investing?
A little bit of both.
Yeah, I mean, just be decisive, you know, because if you're making 45K. What is that? Is it the people work like what is it 4,000 hours a year? How much people work like a year? It's 40. Let me just see something. 40 times 52. Yeah, some like okay. So like 2,000 hours, 45,000 divided by 2,000. That's somewhere around like $22 an hour you're actually making, right? So
yeah.
Whenever you lose money, bro, that's your time. You know what I mean? So take it
But whenever I
seriously.
make money, that's my money working for me.
Yeah, but you want to play a game where the odds are in your favor, right? And you want to have stability. So if I can
Yeah.
play a game where when I win, I win some, but but the odds are always against me to lose, it's not a game I want to play. Right? You want to play a game where yes, it's boring, but you know, hey, my money's gonna keep building up and building up and building up. Again, you're 26 years old, bro. Do you hate your job?
I mean, I think about a career change to potentially, like, I don't know, like project management or something.
All right, man. But once you find a job you actually enjoy, if this is not the one for you, you can just enjoy your job while you let your money work for you. But trying to actually, for example, play a game that's against you and saying like, oh, you know what, I made $50 today, or $100, or $20,000, you know. But when you lose, you're like, I just lost everything. You know, I just lost a big chunk of it, or whatever it is. It's not the game you usually want to be dedicating yourself to.
That's fair.
Yeah, but it's thoughts that you have to go through, and experiences that you have to go through. But the sooner you decide, and the game you want to play exactly, and just go full blown on it, you're gonna do a lot better. It was hard for me to
Yeah.
decide. Hey, I'm not. I mean, I made one investment in 2020, one stock that I picked, and I'm up around 128%. And it's hard to think about that. Hey, I made all this money, but I did it the wrong way, because a part of it was also speculation. You know,
Is
when
it the wrong
everything's
way if it worked out?
yeah, just because something went up doesn't mean that you're right. Right? It's like it's like being at the game table. You get lucky and you're like, oh my gosh, you know, I mean I did research on it, right? But it wasn't really the right way. There was a part of it that was speculation. When you're investing, you're supposed to know exactly what you're doing. I didn't really do that. That stock was
That's right.
Delta. I made 128%. I might even make more money. But in reality, it wasn't the right way. Well, the thing is, it's human psychology also, right? Because investment is also psychology. So when you're making money, you think you're awesome. And when you're losing money, you think you're nothing, right? And that's just a part of it. But you have to be conscious enough to say, hey, I did this the wrong way. Although I made money, it doesn't mean I'm right. Peter Lynch says
That
that.
is, I
It's
mean,
not
that's
me.
fair. Yeah.
It's not my words, it's Peter Lynch's word. Someone that's a lot smarter than I am and a lot smarter than you are when it comes to investing.
That's fair.
All right, brother. Well, I enjoyed this
All right,
call a
brother.
lot, Julius. If you want to give me another call in a few months or so, just to like hear your progress and so on, I'll be happy to hear it. Okay? Have fun.
All right. Yeah, I'm a big fan. Keep going with your YouTube and stuff.
All right, man. If you have any ideas, by the way, send them over. I'll take them for free. Okay?
All right, boss.
All right, peace, bro. All right, guys, so that right there was Julius, you know, and a lot of the times I see people, by the way, I might make a full video on cover calls just to go over the whole thing, but when there was just like a part of something that's like a lot of speculations with options and so on and derivatives, the answer is, do you really want to play a game that when you are winning, you're winning, but when you're losing bad, right? That's the idea. By the way, you don't have to be impatient. Patience is key, but patience is not common, right? People are not really patient today. When people want something, they got a credit card. They buy it right then and there. If you want to go to school, but you can't afford it, you get some loans, whatever, right? You want to invest into whatever you want, you invest into Bitcoin, whatever it is, right? But overall, being patient is just a lot better. You want to buy a house, put down 3.5%. Oh my gosh, great, 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 great. Let me buy another house and another house and another house and another house. And then you have YouTubers saying like, hey, this is great. I'm making so much money, right? But it's different when you have enough money to liquidate all your debt than when you're just like a normal person and you don't have all that money, right? That's the core idea here. So I try to think about things from both sides. And that's the idea. The mission is never to like say, hey, you're bad at this. You can't do this. You know, it's just to decide. Like what game are you playing, right? The faster you know the game you're playing, the better you're going to be off. You can't have one foot here, one arm here, one leg here. You're like, I'm like a starfish, right? My hands are everywhere, right? So you just got to decide. Like, am I going to be playing the speculation game or this game or that game or this game? The faster you start spreading yourself thin and also your money thin, the better you're actually going to do. Julius, by the way, smart guy, intelligent guy. Just be decisive and pick and be patient. That's all it is, okay? I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. As always, if you want to join me on my next call, well, join me. Link down below. All calls are free, by the way, and I'll call you directly. On top of that, follow my other channels. Links down below also. And follow me on Instagram, Tiny Bryson. And before I go, guys, also like and subscribe to this channel. That way, I know you enjoy this content. See you guys tomorrow. And as always, peace.